in all my years working in IT, I've seen some weird stuff. Hard drives clicking like they're alive, webcams turning on by themselves, random files showing up in user folders. Most of the time, there's a logical explanation. A glitch, a bug, human error. But what happened in 2015? No patch, no firewall, no backup protocol could have prepared me for that. I was the IT manager for a mid-sized digital consultancy in Boston. Tight team, around 40 of us. We were on the 14th floor of this old corporate tower near South Station. The kind of building where the elevators groan and the lights flicker every now and then, but you learn to ignore it. You just get used to it. That winter had been rough, constant snowstorms, barely any sun. Then one morning, around 7:45 a.m., my phone buzzed. New email. Subject line. Resignation. Sender Mark Walters. Thing is, Mark had died 2 days ago. Car crash. Highway 93. Brutal. I'd just gone to his wake the day before. But this email, there it was, sitting in my inbox. Time-stamped Monday, 7:42 a.m. Same time the coroner had listed as his estimated time of death. My heart stopped. The message body? Just one line. I don't want to stay here anymore. Please let me go. No salutation. No sign-off. Just that. I checked everything, headers, IP logs, mail server activity. Nothing made sense. The message was clean. No spoofing. It had been sent from his actual workstation. But that PC? It had been wiped by facilities after his accident. Powered off. Disconnected. I had watched them do it. I went straight to my boss, Peter. Showed him the message. He looked shaken, more than I'd ever seen him before, and he just muttered something under his breath. That's the same thing my brother said. I stared at him. What? Peter looked pale. When he took his life, last year, left a note. Same words. That's when things started to spiral. A week passed. We didn't talk about the email again. Then, mid-February, another employee, Jess Harper, was found dead. She jumped from her apartment balcony. Everyone was stunned. She was always so cheerful, you know? A kind of brightness in the office. Her phone was recovered from the balcony. Unlocked. An unsent draft on her email app. Same exact sentence. I don't want to stay here anymore. Please let me go. That made 2. By April, 2 more. Liam from HR was found in his garage. And Erica, one of our brightest junior developers, OD'd in her bathtub. Both left digital traces. Same line. Same. Exact. Line. I was spiraling. The other departments had no idea, but I kept digging. Deep. Accessing logs, pulling drive images from old backups, reviewing internal comms. And I noticed something eerie. All 4 of them, Mark, Jess, Liam, and Erica, had logged into the same internal folder in the days before they died. A dead project folder, labeled Archive Noxes. It hadn't been touched in years. I bypassed permissions and went in. It was empty. No files. No history. Just metadata. Ghost entries. Hundreds of edits. All marked by user unknown. Timestamps all set between 3:15 a.m. and 3:17 a.m. Always that 2-minute window across multiple nights. But no visible content. I set up a packet sniffer, left my system running overnight. Next morning, I found something I wish I never had. 3:16 a.m. Activity spike. Unauthorized write to my local disk. File, letmego.txt. I opened it. One line. You saw me. Let me go. I slammed my laptop shut. My hands were shaking. My heart racing. For the first time in my life, I was genuinely terrified of my job. After that night, things changed. My dreams, filled with static. That same message, over and over. Let me go. Let me go. Monitors flickering at odd hours. Lights dimming just above my desk. Colleagues started avoiding me. Then I heard whispers in the break room. That I wasn't myself. That I talked to empty rooms. That I'd stopped blinking. I didn't believe it. Not until Peter called me into his office. He looked older. Gray, sunken eyes. "You have to leave, Dan," he said. "What do you mean?" He just nodded slowly. "Before it wants you to." I quit the next day. Left without taking anything. Not even my backup drive. 2 weeks later, Peter jumped from the building. By December, 6 employees had died. Each one with the same message somewhere: email, text, sticky note. "I don't want to stay here anymore. Please let me go." We were in the news. They called it a suicide cluster, mental health crisis, burnout, all the buzzwords. But the thing is, none of them had any history of depression. Nothing. No signs. No warnings. Just sudden despair, followed by death. In March 2016, the company shut down quietly. No statement. No memorial. Just locked doors and a cleaned-out office. The 14th floor? Permanently sealed. Rumor is no tenant has stayed more than a month since. And me? I moved across the country. Changed careers. I don't touch tech anymore. Don't even own a smartphone. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, I'll get a vibration on a device that isn't there. And I'll hear those words again, whispered like static. "Please let me go." I've been a landlord in this city for almost 20 years. And let me tell you, I've seen it all. Late rents, broken toilets, screaming matches at 3 a.m., even a guy keeping snakes in his kitchen once. But one thing I never imagined was that I'd be responsible for renting out a flat that could erase someone from existence. Yeah. I know how that sounds. Crazy. But I'm telling you this because I have to. Because if I stay quiet any longer, I might start forgetting things too. This happened in 2018. I owned a small 6-unit building near the edge of the city, kind of run down, nothing fancy. I'd been renovating slowly, trying to make it rentable again after years of no tenants. Unit 3B had been empty the longest. Windows sealed shut with tape, layer of dust like frosting on every surface. Then this girl, Ray Matthews, shows up. Mid-20s, quiet, polite. Said she'd just started a new job at some publishing firm. Needed a place fast. I didn't ask many questions. She signed the lease, paid cash upfront for 3 months. And just like that, 3B had a new tenant. First 2 weeks, smooth sailing. She kept to herself, no noise, no complaints. But then, things got weird. One night, I was fixing a leak in 2A around 11 p.m. As I passed by 3B, I heard it whispers. Really low, like someone mumbling directly into the wood. I paused, thought maybe she was on a phone call. But the next morning, she came down pale, eyes sunken. She asked if I had security cameras in the hallways. I said no, just in the entrance and back alley. She nodded, slow, and muttered, "Thought maybe it caught." Whatever that is. I asked what she meant. She looked at me dead serious and said, "Every few nights, someone knocks. Then they whisper outside my door. And when I check, no one's there. Not even footsteps." I laughed it off. Old buildings creak. Sound bounces. She didn't laugh back. Over the next month, Ray changed. She stopped making eye contact. Forgot to pay rent even though she'd already covered the first 3 months. She came down once in her pajamas, barefoot, confused, and asked me if I knew someone named Mom. When I said I didn't, she started crying, full-on sobbing, then just turned and walked back upstairs like nothing happened. I called a wellness check. Cops knocked. No response. But when they forced the door open, she was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the living room. No lights on. Room was ice cold. She told them everything was fine. And technically, she hadn't done anything illegal. So they left. That night, I stayed up watching the hallway camera feed from the main entrance. At 2:13 a.m., her door opened. She stood there for about 10 minutes, just listening. Then she closed it. A week later, I saw her in the alleyway. She was trying to throw out a bag of clothes, but kept pulling things back out one by one, staring at them like she didn't know what they were. She asked me, "Do you know whose stuff this is?" "It's yours," I said. She looked at me like I was lying. That's not my name anymore, she whispered. What do you mean? She just shook her head, walked away. The next day, her mailbox was open, keys dangling from the lock. Inside, all the mail had been returned, scribbled over with "not known at this address." It was her handwriting. Then her mother called. Apparently, Ray had stopped calling, stopped texting. When the mother got worried and filed a missing person report, police came straight to me. And that's when everything cracked open. I took them up to 3B. I swear to you, I swear on my life. That girl had been living there just days before. But the flat? It was empty, like really empty. Dust so thick on the floor you could track your steps.
No furniture. No dishes.
Not even a mattress. There was no trace of her.
No céu, no receipts, no leftover shampoo.
Just a unit that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. But the weirdest part? I checked the tenant log. 3B hadn't been rented since 2013. And Ray, her lease, wasn't there. It was just gone. The police looked at me like I was losing it. I looked at me like I was losing it. But I remember her. I still see her face. That confused look. That whisper. Do you know who I am? Her mother later got one final message. It was time-stamped 3:16 a.m. The same night the door opened on my hallway feed. Text read, "If they knock, don't answer. They make you forget you ever mattered." I didn't sleep that night. I watched the security footage again and again, praying for something rational. A shadow, a trick of light. But the hallway outside 3B stayed perfectly still. Except one frame. One single frame where the wall bends like a ripple. Then nothing. Just air. It's been years now. I haven't rented out 3B since. Every time I pass that door, I feel cold in my chest, like something's still waiting in there. And sometimes, I forget things too. Names, birthdays, where I parked, or whether I actually ever had a tenant named Ray. But then I check the security feed from that month, and I see her, standing there, listening. I still work in that same glass tower in Singapore, but I swear to you, I haven't taken the elevator since what happened to Tom. I'm not the superstitious type. I've worked late shifts, stayed back past midnight chasing deadlines. Our office is on the 17th floor of a very modern finance firm. Polished floors, sensor lights, coffee machines that talk back, you know? It's the last place you'd expect anything creepy to happen. But after that day, I just can't unsee what I saw. Tom was just an intern. Bright, polite, always the first one in, always stayed till the last. Fresh graduate from LSE, full of hope and stupid bravery. That morning was like any other: emails, coffee, people mumbling about market crashes. I was prepping for a client review when James, our records guy, came over and told Tom to fetch some archived files from basement level B2. And that's when things started going sideways. Tom looked confused and asked, "There's no B2 button in the elevator." James just waved it off like, "Hold down B1 and close together. It'll take you there." We all laughed, thought it was some legacy floor with forgotten junk. But Tom left and didn't come back. 2 hours passed, then 4. By lunchtime, HR was calling his phone. No answer. His desk was untouched. We checked CCTV. He'd entered the elevator at exactly 9:37 a.m., and that's where it ended.
No exit.
No return footage. Just gone. Now here's the weird thing. No one uses basement B2. It's not on any digital directory. The only time I'd even heard of it was from Martha, one of the overnight security guards. She once told me they sealed it years ago after some flooding. That's it. No follow-up. Just left to rot, apparently. By evening, people were getting nervous. Security did a full sweep. Pantries, stairwells, even checked the roof. Still nothing. I got curious and went to B1 myself. It's just storage, old monitors, chairs, broken projectors. But behind some dusty filing cabinets, I found a second elevator. This one was older. Not part of the building's main lift system. Smaller, rusty. Looked like it hadn't been used in years. And this one had a B2 button. I swear I stood there for 5 minutes just staring at it. Didn't press it. When I asked James again, "Are you sure you told him to go to B2? He nodded but looked off. He said something like, "It's probably nothing. He's just confused." Maybe he wandered off. But his eyes looked like he'd seen B2 before, and remembered it too well. That night, a janitor named Frank called security, whispering. He said he saw someone in a janitor's uniform just standing in front of that second elevator. Not moving, just staring. When guards checked, no one was there, except a soaking wet mop. CCTV went completely black from 1:59 to 2:03 a.m. 3 days later, they found Tom. He was walking barefoot along the East Coast Parkway, over 12 miles from the office. Dazed, bleeding feet, filthy. He wasn't wearing his clothes. He was dressed like a janitor. His fingernails, painted red, bright, like blood, but shinier, freshly done. When the police questioned him, he wouldn't speak, just sat there staring. Eventually, he whispered, "There's a door that doesn't open until you're already inside it." That's all he said before collapsing. They admitted him to a hospital for psychiatric care. Locked ward. No visitors. Corporate sent out a formal email reminding us to avoid spreading baseless rumors. But people talked anyway. We always do. Steve, the IT guy, said he hacked the lift logs. That second elevator? It had only one recorded trip in 2 years. Tom's. And one of the cleaning staff told me, quietly over a cigarette, that the mop found outside the elevator hasn't dried since. Always damp. Smells like iron, like rust, or blood. About a week later, I got a message from HR. Said Tom asked to see me. Only me. I didn't know him well. Just enough to nod in the hallway. But I went. He was sitting in a dim room, hospital gown, IVs hanging beside him. Skin pale, eyes like hollow wells. He handed me a folded piece of paper. Inside was a drawing. It looked like an elevator, but not like ours. The walls were fleshy, covered in wrinkles and pores. Instead of a mirror, it had a small window. Behind that glass, dozens of faces, floating, pressed up like they wanted out. On the bottom corner of the page, scribbled in shaky handwriting. Every button took me lower, but the last floor had no number. He stared at me, then whispered. It gave me a choice, janitor or guest. Then he turned to the window and said, "It's still hungry." That was the last time I saw him. The next day, the hospital said he'd been transferred, but no one could tell me where. That second elevator is still there. If you go down to B1, behind the old cabinets, you'll find it. Quiet, waiting. Building management claims it's non-functional. An old shaft, but I've seen it light up. I've heard it move late at night. No one inside. Doors sealed. A few nights ago, I stayed late for a deadline. Around 2 a.m., I heard the soft squeak of a mop bucket rolling down the corridor. But when I turned, no one was there. Only a folded janitor's uniform, placed neatly on my chair. There was a note, "For when it's your turn." I thought someone was pulling a prank. But that night at home, in the bathroom mirror, I saw my fingernails, tinged red, not painted, but like something beneath the skin was trying to come through. So, if you're watching this, and you work late, and you ever find yourself in a building with a missing button or a forgotten floor, don't go looking for B2. Don't try those button combinations. And if you do hear something behind the elevator doors, don't open it, because once you're inside, it never lets you leave the same. You learn to mind your business when you're a janitor in a corporate tower. You see things. After hours, lights on where they shouldn't be, shadows moving behind the frosted glass. But you clean, you keep quiet, you clock out. That's how I'd survived 9 years working night shifts in the Harrogate building downtown. I wasn't supposed to hear anything. I wasn't supposed to notice anything. But that Tuesday night, that's when I got involved in something I shouldn't have. Something I still can't explain. This story's about a guy named Andrew Marsh, 28, fresh MBA grad. Real smart, real hungry, the kind of guy who shows up early, overdressed, carrying 2 resumes just in case. He had an interview on the 34th floor. High-paying tech job, private client. Fancy stuff. Thing is, he walked in at 10 a.m. and never walked out. I didn't even hear about it until 3 days later. One of the security guards, Dev, was smoking out back with me. Told me Andrew's mom had filed a missing person report. Cops came by. Reception told them he never showed for the interview. But here's where it gets weird. The building swipe logs? They showed Andrew checked in at 9:48 a.m. Elevator took him up to 34. Never came down. Even weirder, the 34th floor, it doesn't exist anymore. It was sealed off 2 years ago during renovations. Rezoned. Access card doesn't even list it. No office lights, no fixtures. Just an old floor locked behind steel doors. At least, that's what we were told. But I'd heard things. Late at night, when the whole building's dark and quiet, I'd hear clicking, like keyboard typing, coming from that same level. I always thought I was tired, or imagining things. But after Andrew vanished, I started listening harder. And that's when I really heard it. It was past midnight. I just finished mopping the 32nd floor. Lights off, building humming low like it always does. And then I heard it, click, clack, click, steady, robotic, not rushed, just typing, coming from above. I stopped breathing. See, there's no elevator to 34 anymore. But if you take the old stairwell behind the maintenance room, you hit a welded door. Painted over. Ignored. Except, it wasn't welded anymore. Somebody had unsealed it. Carefully. Cleanly. I pressed my ear to the cold metal. Typing. Pauses. Then typing again. I nearly left right then. Nearly quit, honestly. But I couldn't stop myself. I had to know. I came back the next night. Brought a crowbar.
No alarms.
No camera on that stairwell. The door creaked open. Dust. Cold air. Like opening a tomb. The 34th floor looked wrong. Not old. Just off. Like a floor trapped in time. Walls yellowed. Fluorescent tubes flickering like they were breathing. Then I saw them. Papers. Hundreds of them. Taped, pinned, nailed to the walls. All the same. Andrew's resume. Each one with his photo scratched out. Carved over with something sharp. His name, still printed clear on every page. But the eyes? Gone. As if someone hated him. I followed the sound. Back room. Flickering screen. Dust swirling in the air like smoke. A single desk. And a computer powered on. Old model. CRT monitor. Yellow keys. On the screen, white letters blinked on black. Thank you for staying with us. Then it shifted. Evaluation. Eternal. I don't remember sitting down. But I did. I touched the keyboard. Cold as ice. As soon as I typed anything, the lights above me hummed louder. Something in the walls shifted like it was listening. I backed away. Fast. Then I saw the chair in the corner. Torn suit jacket. Tie on the floor. Dried food container. And a phone. Battery dead. Screen cracked. I picked it up anyway. It lit up for half a second. Just enough to see a text not sent. Mom, help. I'm still here. Still interviewing. That's when I ran. I don't even remember closing the door. I flew down the stairs and didn't look back. I quit the next day. Didn't even collect my last check. The cops went up there after I tipped them off anonymously. They had to break in again. Said the floor didn't exist in the blueprints. But they found it. Found the resumes. Found the room. And they confirmed. Andrew's picture, scratched out, pinned on every single wall. They found his wallet. His ID. But not him. The computer was still running. Still displaying the same thing. Evaluation. Eternal. They shut down the floor. Welded the doors again. Corporate said it was An unauthorized construction error. That's what they called it. But I know the truth. Something's still typing up there. Something that wants people. Smart people. People with promise. You know what scares me the most? Every month, like clockwork, someone new shows up for an interview. And the security logs? They still show movement on the 34th floor. Always exactly at 10 a.m.